No, I'm not doing.
No, I was like. Will there still be?
Hi, everyone. I'm David Lindsay, and with Leandra, we co-curated this series. I am so delighted for you all to be here and to experience this reading. So I'm going to introduce Adjua, and then Leandra is going to introduce Alexis, and then our minds will be blown. So Adjua has written that goosebumps are a good sign, as when speaking with or listening to another, and a wave of energy washes under the skin of our limbs. This should be understood as a marker of metaphysical significance, a signal that we have made contact with the web of life, the energetic electrical network that connects all material and immaterial beings, end quote. And Adjua and I first met in 2020 at the high water mark right before everything shut down, which means we have only ever known each other during a plague. We were reading poems together at an art space in Brooklyn. This was a significant reading for a few reasons for me, one of which was performing poems from memory for the first time. Another reason this reading was significant was meeting a lifelong friend, Adjua. During my performance, and we have both talked about this and remember it distinctly, we made eye contact and both felt a jolt of electricity run down our spines, or put another way, a river of goosebumps. My performance was briefly paused as my mind cleared of all the memorized words that came next, and so it has been at many other times in our friendship, in many other long meandering conversations, being left pleasantly speechless, and then full of words, in awe of all the wonderful things that emanate out of my dear friend Adjua. Quote, "This is a good sign." This is all a long-winded way of saying thank you all for coming, and thank you to Alexis and Adjua for this evening. With that, Adjua, Gargi, and Nzigna Greaves.
Hello. Speaking of plague, we're gonna be a little careful. While I'm doing this, I will distract you by saying how great it is to be back in this place that makes sense to me, not only artist space, but Manhattan, not only Manhattan, but downtown Manhattan, where it's a forest of excellent outfits every step of the way. And I left for graduate school because I didn't have to pay for graduate school. And it hurts to be away. So it's really, really good. Really, really, really good to be back. This is my frat boy talisman. Only the good parts of them, their confidence, their joy. I don't know. Which is actually like a kind of dismissive and silly way of saying something that is really important to me, which is that, the first college environment that I was in was one that was really brutal on a certain continuum, but it was so much more relaxed than the prep school that I had come from, that I was really kind of unaware of how hard it was to be there. And the people that I found were part of the people that I found that like helped me make it through that time were a co-ed fraternity that had split off from a fraternity that like literally George Bush was part of, and I keep finding those pockets of that kind of pocket of people. Like I keep finding the like thoughtful weirdos in every little environment that I'm in. But I have since defected from that group because they were really whack during the pandemic. But I really love joking with people who know me in this iteration that like, actually, I'm a frat boy, because I am. It was a co-ed frat and we threw the best parties on campus, and I really learned a lot, and it was so beautiful. So I don't mean to like say frat boy and let any kind of entity just pop into your mind. I do mean a very particular kind of like metaphysical ideal party animal. Yeah, to be clear. I'm going to start with, I want to do a little timing here. I want to start with, okay. I want to start with something that reminds me of who I have always been, even though it has always been in these like ferociously rigid white academic institutions. I'm currently at Brown University, and 100% went there thinking that they were like the groovy Ivy. They are not. They are not. And I've pulled up as a kind of prelude to sharing my own work. I'm pulling up one of the first pieces of European art that really spoke to me, and I didn't understand why at the time. It's Alfred Lord Tennyson's The Lady of Shalott. And something that not a lot of people know is that there are two versions of that. There's one from 1833 and another from 1842. There are very minor differences until the very end, where this story about a woman who's been ostracized, it ends in two really different ways, 9 years apart. And so I want to let you know that, and then kind of go back to the beginning and share how it stays in my mind as a song that really teaches me from 7th grade when I first encountered it, like 31 years hence. I understand more and more every time I encounter it why this piece is so important. So both pieces end with their second to last stanza like this: under tower and balcony, by garden wall and gallery. Roughly the same, here it goes. A pale, pale corpse she floated by, or a gleaming shape she floated by. A course between the houses high, silent into Camelot. This is a little more grim. Dead cold between the houses high, dead into towered Camelot. Knight and burgher, lord and dame, to the planked wharfage came. Below the stern they read her name, the Lady of Shalott. Okay, so that's all in the 1833 version. 1841 version goes, 1843 version goes, out upon the wharfs they came, knight and burgher, lord and dame, and round the prow they read her name, the Lady of Shalott. So very similar, right? There's fancy people looking out, what's happening with this woman? Is she okay? Who was it, right? That's like happening in both of them. But in the original version, it ends by saying, they crossed themselves, their stars they blessed, knight, minstrel, abbot, squire, and guest. There lay a parchment on her breast that puzzled more than all the rest. The well-fed wits at Camelot. And then in quotes written by the Lady of Shalott, it says, the web was woven curiously. The charm is broken utterly. Draw near and fear not. This is I, the Lady of Shalott. Okay, that's the original version. The version I learned in my little all-girls school uptown was from 9 years later. And the little research I've done has shown that it was something about like the agency. The problem in publishing it was like the agency with which this woman had kind of removed herself from society and was declaring who she was. Like that was apparently the problem. And so it got, edited to this. Who is this and what is here? And in the lighted palace near died the sound of royal cheer, and they crossed themselves for fear, all the knights of Camelot. But Lancelot mused a little space. He said, "She has a lovely face. God in his mercy lend her grace, the Lady of Shalott." Yikes. That's very different, isn't it? Yeah, it's very different. So I'm, I am so glad that we have the documentation of that change and we can, dig into what all those reasons were, but that's kind of my new engagement with this piece. First came to me in the 1842 version, and they start very similarly. And in the past few years, they've really, it's really a song in my mind that sounds a little bit like this. I won't read everything. On either side the river lie long fields of barley and of rye, clothe the wold and meet the sky. And through the field the road runs by to many towered Camelot. And down the people go, gazing where the lilies blow. Round an island there below, the island of Shalott. Willows whiten, aspens quiver, little breezes dusk and shiver. Through the wave that runs forever, by the island in the river, flowing down to Camelot. 4 gray walls and 4 gray towers overlook a place of flowers, and the silent island bowers, the Lady of Shalott. I really want to stay with this, but we have other things to talk about, so we'll do that. But I love this work so much, and I love what is possible in these frightening white spaces is to investigate like the history of what whiteness has been up to and the art it has made. My main work that I'm bringing to you here is it's the opening to my MFA thesis in poetry, and that is called Hymnal Handbook Herald Helix, the 2023 Wilding University Reader. The piece is narrated by a spirit within me, beside me, kind of around me, guiding me, that is that I'm naming Crystal Palace, spelled with a K, and the French spelling, but English pronunciation. And it's occurring to me lately that this spirit is primarily not an entity. It's primarily like the dark of the cosmos, but occasionally when a form is necessary, it's a little crow. And that's a really precious tether for me to the late great Black Betty Davis. Oh, look at these three. I love these three people very much. Very much, yes. Okay, here we go. For Betty Davis and the powerful, spooky crows inside us all. My little crow friend said, "Bruh, they got me out here in the cosmos sounding crazy. Runway walking through the gates of hell, pacing back and forth, in and out of there like I forgot something on purpose. Forever and ever, my friend. Sure as shit, my king of darkness loves me. Why else would I be looking so much like someone he's been fucking up all at eons of the night? Mink lash baddie howling at the moon like, gonna give this body, yaddy, yaddy, 58, 59 more years on this rock, and then I'm out. Out. Wait. Do you see that picture where she was like, father, son, and house of Gucci? I love when they do shit like that. So cute. Just QWERTY you yapping up a storm like little in-joke Easter eggs out there dozening. And they still there in the dark, smiling all cute and goofy at the screen like it's the week they started texting with you know who. Child, what did I even come in this realm for anyway? Right. Beloved, I finally got the whole story of how DJ Matter of Fact met MC Better Yet, Lil How About, and that goon and what? Listen up. The 2023 Wilding University Reader, Hymnal, Handbook, Herald, Helix. For our babies and their babies, for all grandma's gone spirit. Footnote 1, Alexis Pauline Gumbs. There is no God, but we make do. There is no God, but we make do. This is to the tune of Iron Man by Black Sabbath. MFA, PhD, while in you, 23, wild packs of family dogs, ghetto palm tree communities, sick bricolage, hell. Shema Kimbi Rinaminando, it's sweet grass and braids like Ivy's take, and bougie Delagil drip. Claro is to black as femme was kid biz gang gang, call me BBBPI and them, your little kingshire yens of Artie, dama tuba yelling, dotrum see ya. Spoonfuls of Sarah, Dopa, Oxy, Endo, D, Ice Cold Soldiers beer, Bruna. Yale, Princeton, U, Penn, Harvard, Dartmouth, Cornell, Columbia, San Medellin, and Brown. Queen Rick's great ex of 1851, the Palace Crystal, got him glass and castled elms and sparrows, Viva Fiore chokehold. Brown's squad be called the Main Green. Cara a black grad red, where DJ Matter of Fact met MC Better Yet by U-Haul need the Elms ESCs on deck. 123K do the floral review, J stores they just like us. 123K do the floral review. J stores they just like us, digitize it for you. Black girl snapped. She read how Femi Kanan Bonsai do. The doula cood, bro. You from where them wolves at? Standing cancer. We moon goons. We see swoon. We fuck great. We Luke's 8. We howl love. We femme thugs. We old truth. We werewolf. Grazie alla Dea per questi doni ed il tempo per condividerli. Scorpio, Scorpio, oh, Scorpio, Scorpio, oh. What have I become? What have I become? What have I become? My sweetest friend, everyone I know. What have I? Everyone I know. my sweetest friend. What have I become? I don't know how you're still smiling. I don't know how you're still smiling. I don't know how you're still smiling. Heron, verb. Asymptotic refusal. Ever care, baptismal diviner. Leads oral, oral, curl, bridge. Hearing homo like, yes, bro. And sapiens like, no, whoa. Remember, you remake the world as every song rises in you to sing the day you wish to live. Refusal, neuropalooza on sapien, whomst. Discerning, when. Wise, how. Sensible, please. Gathered in darkness, kin ever assembling ashore as the day blooms into view. Deadass communing with the cosmos. Daily, yearly, hourly, all that. To be any other being at all, like, make me this honorable gnat, please, or a rat, or, oh, please, a bear. Understand what alchemy summons goose to monkey flesh. Everything, beloved, everything. Make my life any but human next time round. Let me live. Once more led by grace. I am one with il nostro tempo. Not everyone who loves you knows how. Inspire any form but this one of arms and legs and rent and tax and push and shove and church and state and rule and law and yes and no and you and me and farm and lawn. Assume a soul in all you encounter. What if everything was alive? What if everything was alive? What if everything was alive? Networks abound for infinite reception. All when I have been in ocean, pool and lake and tub, oh, they be sore memorial. Took a nod to the moon, cozy floating in earth's wet and shining skins. Take a nod to the sea. Surrender mortal humanity toward animal deity. Enlightened in the lack of waste, civilization on its last unthinkable legs again, my petal friend and I share a morning celebrating we are free from plague, amen. Hug the sky and show them how. X as guide is placeholder, is hero is lifting. X as guide is placeholder, is hero, is shifting, is lover, is you, is me, is the best names of our best friends, is gig, is bag, is how we mark where we are winning, bless. A to Z and back again, unwilling to deforest forest of our feeling, even when it ain't it ever always, even when it ain't is ever always. Odds infinity to one, a team ain't winning unless they whole. And whomst is this individual? And whomst is this individual? Community be watchful, community be set apart of sources of health and of harm. so like rest them palms. Trees are the kin out here missing. We love how they green. Red blood in our veins, market be a strip. Hook and tear that life away. Like we won't know till home's barren art comes with the plot twist. They all soul avoidance, project death lust. Jungle inversion to nadir, solstice is the time we shine. Not harsh, lyric only. City C just hell zone, unwritten, written on us. But we, the resistance, collaboration nation, baby. Never against, with, forever. Never against, with forever. Silent as Sunday, Adjua asked what trees we knew. Had to tell her first of colonizer, stylist. Gargi inquired what we might remember, and we had to remind her of the thinking coward. Nzigna vowed to honor our dead and dying, unearthing the assault. Greaves gifts a chance to sing our grief, and if we want it, we'll have another of purging and of letting go. Where once was coffee, where once was Kofi hearth, now only blue. Brown kin all gone. We here though. Staying alive ain't extracurricular. University of source material, we have teachers, we are teachers, anyone. And not these deaths everywhere, nor Andromeda's wake can make old new cancers. Modern, healthy, harmless. York, soon a U garden instead. From 30 center to their outskirts. City network souls immortal. I am the elm. I am the elm. I am the elm inside the Babylon. I am the elm inside the Babylon cathedral. I am the light inside the rose room cathedral. I am the life inside the rose room cathedral. I am the world inside. I am the air inside. I am the space inside. I am the void inside, void inside the rose room cathedral. I am the death inside the rose room cathedral. I am the goth inside the rose room, the rose room. I am the goth inside, I am the air inside, I am the life. I am the life inside the, I am the life, I am the light inside the rose room. I am the life inside the rose room cathedral. I am the life inside the Babylon. I am the wood, air, space, void. I am the light inside the rose room cathedral. I am the femme inside the rose room. I am the femme cathedral. Thank you.
All right, a little call here. Here we go. Um, thank you so much, Adjua. That was so beautiful. I really appreciate it. Dave and I, this is our second time hosting. I just want to also say before I even go into whatever I'm saying here, that I want to thank Segue Foundation and Artist Space for hosting us. This is our second time doing this series together, Dave and I, and it's been really special. And it's so interesting because, and I'll say this with full transparency, but last year when we were doing the series, we were having conversations and we were like, we have to get Adjua and Alexis in the same space together. So that was our dream. So this is a dream come true for us today. So I just want to say that. And also, with that being said, also speak about how beautiful the synergy is that it's also Earth Day today. So thank you everyone also for being here and being a witness to this special evening for us. My name is Leandra Lesueur. I'm really excited to be giving an introduction, but I am going to say that I'm not going to do an introduction to our next guest, but I think I'm just going to offer a space of gratitude. And to be honest, it's really hard for me to speak right now because I only want to just sit over there and be in awe and just be a witness, which is a good place for me to be in. I remember the moment that I came into knowing about your work, Alexis, and I will say that I was late to the party, but at least I still arrived at the party. I was in residence in Connecticut and it was fall. And I remember, obviously, as the seasons were changing, my days, when I would go outside with a t-shirt on, I would start to feel the briskness of the wind. But I also remember outside of that physical feeling, the emotional feelings that I was going through. I remember spending my days consumed with a lot of grief and shame and an overwhelm of the unknown as I was processing a lot at that time in life. A friend sent me a text one day as I was explaining to them what I was kind of going through in the moment. And the text read, "Have you read Undrowned by Alexis Pauline Gumbs?" I stopped as I was walking and looked at the phone and said out loud, "Undrowned?" The title alone spurred a feeling of understanding that I couldn't quite comprehend. But in my mind, I kept saying, I know this, I understand this, I am this. I am undrowned, and I am undrowned because I am still breathing. A month later, I actually found the book, thank God. And I know that there is obviously so much more of your work outside of this work of art, but I found this work, or should I say that this work found me. And I remember when I opened it and began reading, there's a passage in the beginning of the book, which is so amazing that there's so much more beyond this passage that I'm going to read a little excerpt. But this passage held me for weeks to come and was something that was a beautiful and transformative moment to be held by words, to be held by language in this way. So I just want to read this for a quick second. And here are some things that I'm willing to give up, an offering towards our evolution. The sharpness of knowing who I am, the weapons I filled my mouth with on purpose, the ways I showed only the tip of me when you needed my wholeness the whole time, the lies I let live in my name, the ways I devalued my breathing. I love each of you for stretching your cartilage and opening your gills, Thank you for remembering the ancient rule of cycles that the sharks are still protecting. And what a celebration when we realize that our survival need not make us into monsters. When we forgive ourselves for shredding what could never even hurt us. When we evolve in our assignment of brave guardian vulnerability. We have wondered at the sharpness of teeth, glorified the extremes of alienation. We have fetishized exactly what we fear. And now we are here to notice the miracle that was there the entire time. The gills, the permeability of strength, the gills, the way all life is flowing through you, your breathing. It is your breathing that we need. When I read this, I said out loud, is she speaking to me? And then I also said right after that, thank you. And so I just want to spend this time to just say thank you, Dr. Alexis Pauline Gumbs. Thank you for your work. Thank you for your presence here in this space today. Thank you for your care. Thank you for your love. Thank you for seeing us in our presence, in our emergence, and even in our collapse. So thank you again. Without further ado, I want to invite you up.
Wow. Whew. I'm so happy to be here. I'm going to put one of these things as well. Oh. One of these sides. Oh, yeah. Wisdom. So maybe we could start with some breathing. I'm going to take 7 breaths. I invite you, you already are doing it. I invite you to get more comfortable, adjust yourself in your seat. I put down the things I was holding. You might want to stretch. Whatever supports your breathing. And what did I say? 7? Okay, here we go. Inhaling, and you could breathe with me, or you could just notice your next 7 breaths. Sorry, I faked you out. Okay. Inhaling for real. And exhaling. Inhaling. 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 And exhaling. One more time, inhaling. And exhaling. Yes, 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 yes. And the other thing I love to do would be to dedicate this time, this next, I guess, 30 minutes that we have together. I'm so grateful to be in this space, and I'm dedicating my presence in this space to my grandmother, Lydia, whose necklace this is, and who was an artist, who definitely deserved more space to be an artist. And I'm really grateful that this space exists and that I get to be a part of it. And I want to invite you to dedicate to someone who's not physically in the space. They could be alive now. They could have been alive before. They could be older than you or younger than you or the same age as you. And they could be any species. But if you'll just turn to a neighbor and let them know who you're dedicating your presence to for right now, that would be great. Go. Okay, remember to thank whoever listened to you. Awesome. And we're gonna maybe draw on that a little bit more in a little while, but I wanted to start with what is on my mind. And what is on my mind, Adjua knows this, is a biography of Audre Lorde that I have just written. Yes, Audre Lorde forever, forever and ever. And this is an excerpt. This is one of the 58 chapters of it. And this is an expert. This excerpt has a shout out to my teacher, Fred Moten, who I know is also part of the inspiration for this series and is part of this series in a few weeks. So this is not the part of the book that Fred thinks is the most important, but also he hasn't read it. So okay. Come closer. Young Audre holds the book close to her face and traces the pictures with her fingers. For Audre, before glasses, the trees in the old and tattered children's books in the Harlem branch of the library and the trees at the park converge, equally vague, green clouds attached to earth by brown connections. She can hold a book in her hand, but since her parents keep her inside and don't invite any playmates over, it is rare that she will see the face of a friend. It is enough of a puzzle to read the minds of her family members when she cannot see what their faces are doing. Later, she will imagine they were contorted in shapes of disapproval. In her writing, Audre Lorde describes her experience of being legally blind at its edges. She remembers clinic workers poking and prodding her during an eye exam and how they laughed at her when she cowered from their cruel touch. They assumed that because her speech was delayed, she could not hear them saying, "I bet she's simple too." Or maybe their more important assumption was that she would not be able to tell anyone about their harmful behavior. But after the torture, Audre finally got glasses, and suddenly she could see the leaves on the trees. It filled her with wonder to realize that so many tiny parts made up the whole. She could see the facial expressions of strangers. In her essay, Eye to Eye, Audre describes the disgust on the face of a white woman riding the subway in a fur coat when Audre sat next to her. Staring at me, her mouth twitches, her nose holes and eyes huge. She can see this woman's face because of the clarity of her new glasses. Before that, she had not internalized the sharp lines of the people who excluded her from social life in the city of her birth. In the blur of early childhood, it was not quite clear where she ended and everything else began. Fred Moten, another severely nearsighted poet and theorist who by his own admission doesn't often clean his glasses, has a theory about the potential of blur in a world of deadly definitions. He looks at art in a manner that, quote, doesn't fight against that blur, but rather in and with it. From the blur between paintings as a person moves through a gallery setting, to the intentional blurring of certain painters, to the digital use of blurry movement, to his own nearsightedness behind smudged glasses, he is interested in a practice of being that can, quote, refuse the limits of the body and embrace the proliferation of its irregular devotion to difference and blur. Moten goes on to suggest that blur is the field from which differences spring, and the blur of spirit admits of no personhood. It was not inevitable that Audre Lorde would become both an empowered, iconic individual and a being whose energy flowed far beyond her body and her lifetime, even while she was alive. But her early childhood experience of requisite closeness and isolation, sensory specificity and blur is important to the methods she would use to create her life. However, even before glasses, Audre can see her own hands. She brings them close enough to scrutinize. She studies the lines and indentations. One day she will use these hands to write about hands. Her own hands and how her mother made her wash them over and over. As the darkest daughter among her three sisters, her mother's colorism made Audre feel that her hands were always dirty. She looked closely at her hands, trying to see what she had missed. She washed them raw, trying to get the brown off. One day, she will write a poem about how the language of colonialism and racism marks her hands in nightmares. The speaker in the poem will refuse to wash her hands because she has learned to treasure the words that stain those hands, ink pathways to another possible life. In early childhood, there were no words, just hands. So Audre depended on touch, craved it, used it to understand her surroundings. She continued to depend on this early lesson. You can only understand what is close enough to touch. She will express this someday to lovers and would-be lovers. She will be known as a flirtatious person in public, always touching someone's arm as she punctuates her point. But before any of that, she craved her mother's touch, craved her father's affection, even though they put all their love into creating the blurry home around her. Before she spoke, she gestured. She screamed until someone came close enough for her to clutch them in her tiny hands, and near enough to smell. It was easier for little Audre to smell the emotion of her parents and sisters than to read their faces. The salty milk of her mother's bed, the garlicky kitchen souse, the sweet mangoes, soursop, and spices her mother brought from the market under the bridge, that Park Avenue bridge. All more vivid than anything she could see those first years. As an adult, her poems will dwell in scent, the close smell of skin, the draining stench of a rotting city, the sharp warning of an acrid realization. As a teacher, she will judge her students' poems accordingly. That's pretty, but what does it smell like? What does it taste like? Audre's is not a poetics of the view from over there. The poem only works if it brings everything so close you can breathe it. Okay, that's enough. Thank you. And now we'll see if my poems work. So high standards coming after Audre Lorde. But I will say, and I thought about this as you shared, Adjua, some of the context for what you shared, that Audre Lorde, it really was Audre Lorde and epigraphs from Audre Lorde's poetry that gave me the space in the elite and violent white educational institutions that I moved through to say the things I needed to say. I felt since I was 14, Audre Lorde was like kicking in the door for me. So it is the least I can do to be embarrassed by her greatness. So this is an oracle. You already did two of the most important parts of the oracle, which are breathing, and dedicating. And then the third part is finding your Lordian question. So a Lordian question is a question that you don't know the answer to, but it lives right there, like at the part of your life that is in transformation, the breakthrough that you're having in some area of your life right now. I can tell you're having a breakthrough in some area of your life right now. We always are, I think. And what I would like to help guide you in your question is, what is something that you want to bring closer, like that Audre Lorde close, to scrutinize, to become more intimate with, to surrender to more deeply, whatever that means for you. For example, I think my Lordian question is, oh yeah. How can I offer my vulnerability, my love, with more specificity, even to people who I don't know? I think that's the closeness breakthrough / breakdown / just realized I was I was blocking just now. So that's an example of a Lordian question. Okay, so you don't have to turn to someone and tell them your Lordian question, but just take a moment and think about what it is for you. Okay, you may still be thinking, but the way that it is going to work is some of you could share your Lordian question, and then I'll ask you to choose a number, and then I'll read a poem, and that will be my blessing to you as you continue to bring whatever it is close. Okay? And are you recording? So it's okay with me if there's people who don't want their questions recorded. So I just would want that to be respected. Awesome. Okay, who wants to share a Lordian question first? Yes. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, will you choose a number between 1 and, I forgot how many pages it is. 1 and 220. Great. So this is from Dub 17. Who do you think thought of the ocean? We, who would be whales. How could we prepare for the lives we evolved into, immersed in a substance we could not breathe, and nevertheless called to be graceful, huge in ways that the world could not hold, except by these means, unbound by the limits of time, because we thought of the ocean before we became who we are. How could we know the selves we had never been? How could we know places we had not the bodies to see? How do we breathe across generations? Ask yourself. This is not the power of positive thinking. This is no birthday wish in smoke. This is existence or absence. No joke. So that's for you. I think you get it. I'll say it myself as a person who often uses jokes to deflect the love that's coming towards me, that you chose the perfect number for me too. So thank you for that. So that's how it works. Yeah. Thank you for being brave. Thank you for being first. Somebody else want to share their Lordian question? Yes? Or you were just doing something else with your hand? Oh, okay. Yes. Great question. Great question. I know that's right. I'm so glad that love is the theme. Okay, so will you choose a number between 1 and 212? Great. This is from M Archive. After the end of the world. 186. Okay. This is too slow. I'm almost there, sorry. Yes. Oh, that's so cool. So this is, let me show you this. This is a page actually made by my beloved partner, Shango Dare, who's here in the front row. It is excerpts of the periodic table, okay? So sodium, magnesium, potassium, calcium, iron, zinc, phosphorus, sulfur. Yes. Yes. What are the chances that of all the pages, you would choose the elements that already exist? I love it. I love it. Does somebody else want to ask a Lordian question? Yes. Was there someone over here before that I didn't see? You? Okay, let's go here and then come back. Yeah.
How can I be /my
How can I experience and be? Seek. How can I be/seek my authentic self without expecting something in return? I'm just repeating it in case there are folks who couldn't hear that the second time. What a beautiful question. Will you choose a number between 1 and 221? Okay. This is from a set of poems that are unpublished as yet, that are all inspired by Arawak constellations stories. You said 43? So this is the snake prayer. Train me to let go every skin I made to hide in. Teach me how to slide away. Show me how you move across the land, the sky, without one hand or foot or reaching fin. How can I live without holding on? If in the Garden of Eden, they dressed themselves in leaves, maybe it was not because they were ashamed, just the closest they could get to scales. If I could surrender to renewal, if I could unlearn my armor, if I could not know myself as skin and give who I am now back into earth, somewhere underneath, I would grow feathers. Soon enough, I know that I would fly. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There you go. Wow. Okay. And you had a question, yeah. What else can I do to help my inner child and my inner teenager feel safer? Can you choose a number between 1 and 150? Okay. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. So this is from Undrowned. Here in the spotted Atlantic, surveillance is everywhere. It's the water we breathe, the drowning context of being so gorgeous, so wanted. Or as my friend Eric Stanley says, of the problem of recognition and anti-trans optics, quote, how can we be seen without being known? And how can we be known without being hunted? Ask the Atlantic spotted dolphin, which is not always spotted actually. Only the eldest of the species have spots, and the dynamic of having spots sometimes, of being differently marked over a lifetime, has made these dolphins hard to identify. The Smithsonian says they have, quote, puzzled experts for a long time. And because of this, and maybe also because of their epic hang time when they jump out of the ocean, they are very much sought after. For example, in 1995, an Atlantic spotted dolphin got stranded on the shore of Texas. Texan scientists, of course, detained them. This is a singular them, but eventually let them loose with a wire in their dorsal fin to spy on other dolphins in the Gulf and out beyond it. The scientists called it help. And in a way it was, and I know some of us can relate because access to any service, including the social media I used to share these words originally, requires us to submit to being tracked and monitored. This spotted ecology ain't no easy place to swim. One other thing though, the Atlantic spotted dolphin, so acrobatic, agile, quick, wedded the dreams of SeaWorld-esque captors early on. And though I hear a whole group of these dolphins have been consensually communing with people in the Bahamas since the 1970s, leaving and coming back when they want, the guidebooks say that they, quote, generally do not acclimate well to captive conditions and are therefore not popular in the display industry. Sounds like what Juanima Lubiano taught us about a cover story that covers something up, because the lack of acclimation, the early deaths, the frequent stillbirths, the listless living of dolphins and whales in captivity has generally not stopped the industry from capturing them anyway. So what is it about the Atlantic spotted dolphin that is effectively evasive? How can I become unpopular to those who would enslave me? I see you too. You wireless hunter with your hooks in all my movements. And I know somewhere in your lust lives a desire to get this deep. May all your love outlive your lies, beloved predator. And for the sweet stealth acrobats who exhaust systems with our constant transformation, who are mistaken every day for something else. Yes, all my love, and keep on going. Thank you for that question. Okay, last one. Okay, second to last one, because then of course, Adjua, you get to have one. So yes. Can you choose a number between 1 and 180? Okay. That's a good one. Better sing out there. Okay. 77. Hear the chainsaw laughter. Hear the tree killing parking lot laughter. Hear the smoked away resistance. Hear the tar stuck, the choking laughter. Hear the domino razor's edge laughter. Hear the scratch Mosgood table and destroy food forever laughter. Hear the sound that made her stop caring. Hear the overworked husband ridicule his wife with all the homeboys staring. Hear the cut through rings and sap and everything laughter. Hear the dreams of our mother fall to the floor and never get raised up after. This is the first piece in a section called What He Was Thinking. And yes, I think you know what to do. Thanks for that question. Okay, yes. Thank you so much.
How I find the courage to ask for care I want without first encountering or creating crisis.
I think everybody needed to hear that question. I'll repeat it in case anybody didn't hear it or paraphrase. How can I find the courage to ask for the care that I need without having to create a crisis situation? Ooh, I can relate. Yes. Will you choose a number between 1 and 250?
147.
Great. 147. And this is the last one. So after that, I'm going to run away. Wow. Okay. You could say it was because we loved each other, because we wanted to live among each other, because we knew how to feed each other. We followed our relatives who had somehow learned to eat in this strange land. We were bunched up and proud. And if you had asked any of us, we would have said we chose each other, preferred each other. And if we married people longer from this land, we brought them too, close to what we claimed, if not controlled. Someone looking at maps and measurements, someone owning and playing with property, someone looking at real estate as a game and not as the actual possibility of people you loved having somewhere to stay warm or not, might have come to a different conclusion. They would have no problem saying that we were there because no one wanted us elsewhere. We were there making them money too. For me, This me is my grandfather, by the way. For me, I knew my own people, how to keep them warm, how to keep them cool, and not just in body, but in temperament. It was my people who paid for that car. Oh, it's my great-grandfather. The first car in Perth Amboy, mind you. It was my people who paid for that truck I used to bring them coal in the winter, ice in the summertime. It was for our people out there playing cricket that my daughters would sell food and drinks. So it was also our people who paid their pocket money for school. And for your grandmother, my daughter, that's Lydia, it taught her something important about closeness. She never thought it was inconvenient to have all your cousins piled up with you like that. You could hear it in how she said all their names at once in one breath, like they belonged together. No way she could have helped so many people if she didn't know close like she knew close. No way she could have managed those in-between times that dreamers always have either. That last time you were with her, you, your aunt, and her all close again in that hotel room in Toronto, she was seeing more than the medication showed her. She was seeing me and more than me too. She was crowded again with the spirits who left but who never stopped calling her. And as much as she was always looking for somewhere to be, always wanting something new to see, she also never met a stranger in China or wherever she went. She was like you, already a cousin, already close. She was proud and unwilling to be trapped by anyone or anything. That's true. But ask her to name just one cousin. She will name at least 3 to start, and she won't stop. Ask her how many can fit or who is welcome or how far she can reach or how much she can do and for how many, you'll see. She grew up American, but that crowded seeking space, that brought and bringing space, what would you say? The hold of the hold? She had it. And you, even you, with all your training and time alone, you could well have it too. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you all. Oh, well, thank you, Alexis and Adjua, so much for being with us today. And thank you for this. We really needed it. And thank you all for being here. As you heard, there's a party outside. So please go join the party and celebrate Earth Day today. And thank you again.
I am once again pleasantly speechless. Thank you.
Like, I'm so sweet. Because I met them, I was like, oh, here's the man. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Wow.